Hey, what's up? This is episode number 2 of Acquire the Language Comprehensible Input. Welcome to the episode. In this video, we're going to be talking about my experience going to Panama City. We'll talk about the lessons that I learned, the things that I saw, and most of all, we're going to learn English through comprehensible input. And don't forget, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, because there will be a new video every week from now on. Without any further ado, let's get started with the video. Hey, how you doing? My name is Benjamin. I'm from Pennsylvania in the United States. I made this channel, Acquire the Language English Comprehensible Input, to make content so that intermediate learners of English could listen to a video in which the vocabulary used is relatively easy to understand. This is also the reason why I talk a little bit slower than I normally do. In today's video, we're going to be talking about when I went to Panama City. If this type of content interests you, please drop a like and tell me in the comments what you would like to hear me talk about next. Chapter number 1, the flight from Baltimore to Georgia. I arrived at the airport in Baltimore at about 4 a.m. 4 in the morning, I arrived at the Baltimore airport. When I got there, I knew what I needed to do, so I just sat and waited for the lines for TSA to open up. I spoke to a couple people while I was there, but in general, those 2 hours passed very quickly, and afterwards, I had to get my bag checked. Once my bag was checked, I went to the terminal where my flight was going to be. Once I was in the plane, it only took about 2.5 hours to get me from Baltimore all the way down to Atlanta, Georgia, where I waited for about an hour and a half until my next flight, until my connecting flight. Connecting flight means whenever you take one flight to one place and that flight from there is going to take you to your destination. This is the connecting flight because it connects you from your first flight to your second flight. Chapter 2, the flight from Georgia to Panama City. The airplane that took me from Georgia to Panama City was smaller. It was a little bit claustrophobic, and there were not as many people. I also remember that the plane was warm, and it made me a little bit anxious. I was also a little bit anxious by the idea that maybe the Panamanian government would send me back to the United States. Why would they send me back? Well, because I planned on staying for 3 months, a total of 90 days. But that's the absolute limit for an American citizen to stay in Panama City visa-free. But I closed my eyes, woke up, and I saw below me the Caribbean as we passed over Cuba. And then, Chapter 3, from the airport to my Airbnb. Once I arrived at the airport, I was lucky to know somebody who was from Panama. They guided me to a new train station. This train station or subway, it took me from the Tucumán airport in Panama to Panama City. When I got out of the subway, I was practically already near my Airbnb apartment. All I had to do was flag down a taxi, and afterwards It was about a 2 to 3 minute drive. Once I got to the building, there were security guards outside. They asked me why I was there, and I replied, I'm staying at an Airbnb in this apartment building. They called the owner, the man who owns the apartment, and he confirmed that I indeed am supposed to be there. Chapter 4. The first week in Panama City. During my first week in Panama, I was falling in love with that city. I mean, personally, I have never lived in a city, so this was very new to me. As I met new people on the street, I thought back to whenever I spent some time in New York City, and I thought about how the people here just seemed different. They seemed polite, like they cared about one another. And the owner of my Airbnb, he even took me on a trip around the city and showed me many things as we drove for about 2.5 hours. I offered him money for the gas, but he said that it was his pleasure to show me around. I was already stunned by the amazing Panamanian people and the beautiful landscapes found in this wonderful country. Most of the time that I was in Panama, I spent it writing articles for my website, but I also did get to see some things I liked. Parque Omar absolutely blew my mind. It blew my mind to see such a big, luxurious park. A park with pools and a library, smoothie shops, fruit stands, etc. I couldn't help but think about what it would be like to be a kid growing up, going to this park maybe once a week. And I remember one day I was walking to Park Omar when I felt things crushing underneath my feet. I looked down and I was stepping on a pile of mangoes which had fallen from the tree above. For me, coming from Pennsylvania, seeing mangoes outside of a grocery store is pretty uncommon. But to see them abundantly, that means there's a lot, many of them laying on the street and sidewalk, was absolutely incredible. Chapter 7. The Hospitality of the Panamanian People. During my time in Panama, I realized something. The United States is off. The people are so cold to one another. I mean, growing up here, we didn't even know our neighbors. The majority of our neighbors, we didn't know them. In Panama, I would get on an elevator and every single time there would be somebody who wanted to talk to me. I remember there was this one time where this wonderful Venezuelan woman, I just started talking to her and she offered me food and a place to stay. She said, if you ever want food or a place to hang out, my apartment is E6 on the 13th level. I mean, this would never happen in the United States. I had multiple situations like this that just made me think about, well, even if the United States has more money in the economy, even if it's easier to live a more luxurious life, is it really worth giving up such wonderful people? Is it really worth compromising if we don't get to enjoy these small conversations and these beautiful gestures? Conclusion. Panama showed me culture. It showed me a people who are not so caught up in what's going to happen in a year, or 2 years, or 3 years, but a people who were really mostly focused on taking care of their families and not so much about political matters or what's happening across the world. They also showed me what it's like to be nice for no reason, to be generous to people that you'll never see again. Panama will always have a big place in my heart. It'll always be the first country that I went to, the first time that I left the United States. It will always be a second home. And although now I've only been there 2 times, I'm sure in my life I'm going to return. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what subjects you would like to hear me talk about. Also, if you have any suggestions, please don't be afraid to let me know if maybe I'm speaking too quickly in some parts, or maybe you would like me to pronounce the words a little bit more. If that is true, please let me know. I'm here to make the most helpful videos, so that would really help me in my objective. I'm glad we had this little conversation. We'll see each other again soon. Thank you very much for stopping by at Acquire the Language. Bye. Hasta luego. Ciao.